Alright guys, today we are going to be ranking every single Clash Royale card on who I would survive a zombie apocalypse with. So let's go over our tiers. First up, we have my squad. These are my first picks. I trust them with my life. Then we have solid pick. These are the cards that are solid picks, but are not as good as my squad. I'd still trust them with my life though. Then we have backup plan. Worst comes to worst, I pick these guys and I still trust them with my life, but not ideal. Then we have liability. These are going to be people who are essentially a problem for the squad. You know, they're helpful, but they have some drawbacks. Then we have dead weight. Okay, these are the cards that I'm going to be like, I've got to carry you through the zombie apocalypse. I got to put you in my backpack and carry you to the survival line. Then we have I'm leaving you behind. Okay, frankly, some cards they just don't make the squad. They got to be left behind. All right, let's go ahead and start. I'm not going to start over here. You know, let's do some random stuff. Let's go with wall breakers. Now, skeletons are supremely skilled in the zombie apocalypse. They're top tier picks because they don't need to eat, so that we don't have to worry about getting them food. They don't need water. Okay, so they basically survive on their own. And then they can't be turned into zombies. They don't have any flesh to be bitten. As far as I'm aware, skeletons cannot become zombies. So, skeletons are a supreme pick in the zombie apocalypse. However, wall breakers have to be I'm leaving you behind. And it's quite simple. They're going to, well, actually, we can put them in dead weight. So, up until the moment, well, liability, actually. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, actually, the wall breakers are kind of good. So, let's think about this. The wall breakers will essentially sit around and do nothing and be useless until I need them to go blow themselves up and kill themselves. For me, of course. Which is pretty good. It's basically a get out of jail free card one time, right? One time we get to go, hey, little buddy, hey, little wall breaker, I love you, but I need you to go kill yourself over there and save my life. And they'll do it. So that's pretty sick. And we don't have to worry about feeding or watering them until that moment. So that's pretty good if you ask me. Now, let's go ahead and do freeze. Freeze is a pretty solid card here. I think as long as we don't get caught in the freeze, it's really good. We can freeze a group of zombies. Let's assume it's like a potion bottle and we get a couple uses out of it. I'm going to say it's a solid pick, all right? Being able to freeze a wave of zombies around you is very good, very helpful. It'll let us sneak past them. Goated. Next up, let's do Spear Gob Hut, the little Goblin Hut. The Goblin Hut is going to have to be a liability. Now, I say that because it's simply so many mouths to feed. Let's assume there's 5 to 20 goblins in the hut, right? That's a lot of people. They basically got their whole survival thing going on over there, and I'm joining as an outsider. That's inherently going to create some tension between us. Like, man, they're going to start thinking I'm stealing their food or something. They're all going to turn on me, and before you know it, I'm going to be cooked and eaten. So, too much of a liability. Now, let's go with the giant. The giant seems like a really solid pick, okay? I know he seems like a goated pick in this situation. He's huge. He can easily crush the heads of any little zombies that show up. However, more surface area, the larger you are, means more places to be bit. It's harder to cover that stuff up so you don't get bit. And therefore, I think I'm just going to put him in backup plan, okay? He would certainly be helpful, but it's way too dangerous to have a giant around because if he does get bit, then you have to deal with a giant zombie. And that just sounds like impossible, okay? So let's go with the musketeer. Musketeer is absolutely goated in my squad. Very few people in the Clash universe have actual guns, and guns are great against zombies. However, they do make a lot of noise, which draws in, you know, other zombies. But she's got a little bit of armor on. She's field trained. I trust her with my life, hands down. Excuse me. Now let's go with goblins. Regular goblins are definitely going in the backup plan section, okay? There's 4 of them. That's 4 mouths to feed, and they have no inherent armor. They're just some guys with vests on and some pants, and they have knives, right? If I wanted 4 guys with knives, I could go down to I don't know, anywhere and probably pick up 4 guys with some knives. I could just hand them the knives and be like, hey, you want to join my zombie apocalypse squad? And they'd be like, okay. So I don't really trust them that much either. I feel like they might backstab me. No, thank you. Hog Rider. Hog Rider is very loud, which is not something you want in the zombie apocalypse. I assume he could probably control himself, okay? So I'm going to put him in the solid pick. Actually, I'm putting him in backup plan. No, he's going in liability. The pig is a whole other thing we got to deal with. I mean, I don't know what pigs eat. I don't know how much to feed them. I'm pretty sure they'll eat anything, but that's just like a whole thing we got to deal with. We could eat the pig, but something tells me the Hog Rider is not gonna just let me eat his hog. You know, that's like his whole thing. Pause. I'm not eating the Hog Rider's hog. Forget I said that. The wizard. The wizard is going in the squad. Okay, somebody who can create fire at will is goated in any survival situation. He can vaporize zombies with his super magical fire powers. Like, he's a goat, okay, in this situation. Hands down. Super awesome to have on the squad. Skeletons. Skeletons are a solid pick, and they have all the benefits of the wall breakers, but they don't kill themselves, and they have little swords, and they can defend me, and they're a welcome addition to the team. Now, the reason they don't go into my squad is because there are other better skeletal options that we'll go over later. Let's go ahead and do the cannon. Assuming the cannon is sentient, this is a solid pick, I think. Okay, wherever we choose to set up our base, the cannon will be very helpful. Well, come to think of it, cannon is probably dead weight now that I think. It's actually, I'm leaving them behind. Okay, anytime we have to move somewhere, there's no way we're lugging a cannon around. That's ridiculous. And then on top of it, the thing that really bothers me about the cannon and makes me not really want it in my survival team is the fact that it's so unbelievably loud. Anytime the cannon goes off, it's just going to create more chaos and draw more zombies in than killing however many it kills with the first shot is going to be worth. So I'm leaving it behind. Definitely. Next up, let's do Inferno Tower, because I feel like Inferno Tower is actually a super solid pick. Now, I don't know how well we're going to be able to hang around the Inferno Tower, but the Inferno Tower has many uses. So first of all, it could start a fire, which is fantastic, right? Then it vaporizes corpses, which is really good because you have to worry about disease and plagues and stuff like that a lot whenever it comes to, survival situations like this. So being able to turn corpses into ash at will is a really helpful thing. And then again, it's just going to be great at area denial for the zombies. Now, I think it's also really good for survivors, like deterring other survivors from attacking our base or anything like that, because who's going to want to go near the Eye of Sauron sitting over there on a tower next to a base? I'm going to be like, fuck that. I saw what it did to that zombie. There's no way I'm dealing with that. I don't want to get vaporized, right? Nobody's going to come fuck with us with the Inferno Tower. So I think it's a very solid pick. The only reason it doesn't make the squad is because, frankly, I have no idea how we're going to move it. So once it's in the spot, it's probably there for good. Next up, let's go with the Giant Skelly. The Giant Skelly is basically the giant without any of the drawbacks from the giant and has a bomb. So I'm saying he's going in the squad, okay? He's also got a cool hat, and, that can't be understated. Now, the bomb, I don't know how helpful that'll be. I'm sure in some situation we can probably get some good use out of it. But for the most part, he's just a solid dude. He's super strong, he's super big, and he can't be turned into a zombie. Doesn't have to eat, doesn't have to drink. He's goated, okay? He can carry me around on his shoulders, and I'll basically be invincible from the zombies. I feel like he's not gonna let them crawl up him to come get me. He'd grab him and throw him off or something, Okay, Mini P.E.K.K.A. going in the squad hands down. We knew that though. We all knew the Mini P.E.K.K.A. was going in the squad. Okay, bro is the goat. He's got a sword, he's got armor, he's a nature spirit. I don't even think he can be turned. I don't know if he needs to eat. He'll see all the zombies as pancakes and just chop them up. As long as he doesn't chop me up, we are straight chilling. All right, next up, we're going to go with a Barb Barrel. The Barb Barrel is a backup plan sort of card, I feel like. The initial roll into the zombies is very good. Knocking them all on the ground is pro plays, right? But I don't know. It's one guy. He doesn't have any armor on. He's just got a sword. I don't know how many times he's going to be able to use the barrel before it breaks. And, in the game, it breaks after one use. So it's not really that helpful. And he may just roll into a horde of zombies and get chewed up on his own. So, which, to be fair, is not really my problem. But it definitely doesn't make him a great addition to the team. In fact, one could argue he's a liability, but I'm going to leave him in backup plan. All right, let's go and do Golem, right? Golem is interesting. So I think that most people would say the Golem is a really strong card in this situation, okay? He can't be turned to a zombie because he's made of rock. He's very strong, but he's really slow. And I think that makes him a liability, frankly. He's really slow. He's probably very loud. I don't know if he needs to eat or not. That's unclear to me. If he does eat, it's probably rocks or something. So probably not too bad, but just the fact that he's so slow. I mean, imagine having like a several ton creature that you just have to wait for all the time to catch up to you in any survival situation. It sounds like a liability if you ask me. In fact, we could argue that he's even dead weight here. But I feel like he'd be able to do some stuff around the camp or whatever, that he's probably a pretty solid pick. Maybe if you set up a camp and leave him there, he's pretty good. But I don't know. If you ever have to leave, you're gonna have to wait on it. It's just tough. Okay, he's too slow. He's too big. Next up, let's go ahead and do Ice Golem while we're on golems. The Ice Golem, I think, is actually a solid pick. So he's not nearly as slow as the regular Golem, I don't think. Well, is he? Are they the same speed? I'm pretty sure the Golem is slower. And he's smaller, he'll be less loud, and he can't be turned. I don't know if he needs to eat, but it'd probably be similar to the regular Golem, so I'm going to say he's a solid pick. Okay, next up, let's go to Barbarians. 5 guys with swords. Sounds like a solid pick. However, 5 guys with swords means 5 mouths to feed, right? And they don't have any armor. They're loud as hell. I don't know if they could contain themselves in a zombie apocalypse situation, so they might just get us all killed. Liability for sure. Just adding 5 people to the squad, no matter what, is always going to be a liability. And while we're there, let's go ahead and just toss Goblin Gang in there as well, because, I mean, that's the same exact thinking, right? They're going to be a liability because there's just too many of them, you know? Let's do Prince. The Prince is really strong in this situation, I think, okay? He has armor, which is instantly very helpful. You know, he probably won't get bit. He has a weapon, which is also very helpful, and he's got a horse. And you saw what Rick Grimes did with that horse, okay? If he didn't walk into that city with that horse, he would have been just fine. So I think he's definitely a good person to have in this situation. Next up, let's do the Battle Ram. The Battle Ram is not fantastic, okay? 2 guys to add to the squad, so that's 2 mouths to feed. They're very loud because they're still barbarians. They have the Battle Ram, which is not that useful in this situation. I mean, it's a big thing to carry around. It doesn't get much value against a zombie, okay? Battle ramming a zombie doesn't do a whole hell of a lot other than knock it over, most likely. Getting into places, sure, but it's going to make a ton of noise. I would say this is dead weight. The Battle Ram is dead weight. I got 2 guys and they're so fucking busy. They're so preoccupied with carrying around their Battle Ram that they're gonna be useless. All right. The Knight is goated. Okay. For all the same reasons the Prince is goated. He just doesn't have a horse. So I mean, I guess you could say he's slightly less goated, but I mean, he's up there with the mini P.E.K.K.A. He's just a great addition to the squad. Let's be real. Let's do Bomber. Barry's pretty goated. Okay. I think he's a solid pick. I'm only putting him in solid pick because I think he's on the same level as the skeletons, right? The bomb will be useful in some situations. Blowing zombies apart is nice, but it's very loud, so it'll draw in more zombies. The bomb is arguably more useful against people, but it's just one guy, and sure, he's got a bomb. Maybe he has infinite bombs, but I don't know. I just don't think he'd be that useful in this situation. Okay, let's do the Furnace. The Furnace is made of fire, as far as I can tell, so I don't think the Furnace will be able to be turned into a zombie, which is good for us, right? We don't have to worry about that. Probably doesn't need to eat, probably doesn't need to drink, can make fire at will, can spawn fire spirits that will kamikaze. I don't know how much control there really is over the fire spirits, so I'm going to put him in solid pick. I think there's a very real scare that you have to worry about where the Furnace spawns a fire spirit and it jumps onto like your home and burns it up into the ash. Like that's pretty bad, right? So we don't want that to happen. So just a solid pick. Next up, let's do Lava Hound. Lava Hound feels pretty useless in this situation if I'm being real. So sure, we could maybe ride the Lava Hound, but I don't know what a Lava Hound eats. I don't know how we're going to get food for it. The Lava Hound spawns babies when it dies. I don't want to have to take care of 7 kids. Frankly, I'm leaving the Lava Hound behind. I just don't see the Lava Hound being very useful in this situation. Next up, Tesla Tower. Tesla Tower is awesome, okay? It hides, so it's basically a trap against any kind of scavengers who come and try and take over our base. So it's great against people. It's great against zombies. I've heard it's self-powered, so that's even better. It can create electricity, which is huge. I mean, it's got to make it to the squad, okay? The only downside is I have no idea how we move it. We may be building our whole base around the Tesla Tower, wherever it is, but I mean, it's pretty goated when you think of it that way, I think. Okay, the log. The log is, I'm leaving the log behind, bro. What are we going to do with the log? It's huge. Even if it's sentient, I don't know if it can roll itself around. If we're being generous, right, and saying it can roll itself around, it really only moves to dead weight because it's still huge, it's heavy. I don't think we'd have to feed it anything, which is nice. It can't really be turned into a zombie, but simply rolling over zombies is not a huge benefit because it doesn't really kill them. I don't think it takes care of them. Dead weight, I'd say. Maybe you could argue it's like crushing their skulls and then they're dying, but I don't know, man. It's just too much. Nobody wants to have to worry about a log rolling behind them. It'd be super loud too. Okay, Valkyrie. Valkyrie is goated. All right, Valkyrie is really strong in this situation. She's got an axe, which is huge. She knows how to wield it. She's a strong, independent woman. So I think making the squad is fair. You could maybe bump her down to solid pick just because she doesn't really have any armor. So, but I think that's fine for now. We may move her around later. Let's go with Royal Delivery. Okay, I'm gonna assume the Royal Delivery does not crush me, right? It's more like I call it in and I go, hey, let's drop the guy right here. And then he comes in and then he's on the squad. And I would say he's a great addition to the squad. Okay, he's armored up on the way in, he kills zombies. And it's just one guy. I don't have to worry about feeding a ton of people. He's got a weapon. I mean, he's goated in this situation. He's fantastic. He's arguably one of the best cards in this situation, I think. Okay. Mega Minion. Now, Mega Minion is really good here, I feel like, because first of all, armor, which is huge, which means he probably can't be turned into a zombie. There's some ambiguity whether or not like a goblin or a minion can be turned into a zombie, right? Assuming they can, a minion is definitely going to be better with armor. And then on top of that, it can fly, which is huge. It's just anything that can fly is a huge benefit in this situation. So I think he's definitely making the squad. It turns out I think a lot of the Clash cards are pretty good in the zombie apocalypse. Okay, Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon is better than the Lava Hound because it doesn't spawn children when it dies, which is a huge benefit to us. We don't have to worry about that. Zombie Dragon is terrifying, though. Zombie Dragon is terrifying. I think the Zombie Dragon just alone puts it into liability territory, right? Like, how on earth is anybody going to deal with a Zombie Dragon? It sounds like a nightmare waiting to happen, so definitely liability category. All of the benefits of being able to fly, breathe fire, and all that good stuff are certainly outweighed by the potential alone of a Zombie Dragon. Okay, let's do Snowball. Snowball. We'll assume this is in like a little jar or something, and I can call down a couple snowballs over the course of my lifetime in this situation. Now, the snowball is not fantastic, okay? Certainly not good as freeze. I'd say it's like a backup plan to freeze if you really think about it. It'll freeze some zombies, it'll knock them back and maybe knock them down, but I mean, it's just not nearly as good as freeze, right? So I think that makes sense. Let's do Sparky next. Okay. Assuming Sparky is sentient, right? And it's not just gonna zap me, or even if we don't even really have to assume it's sentient, it probably doesn't need to eat anything. It's self-powered. It can vaporize zombies. It will be incredibly loud though, so I feel like it's kind of got... It does have wheels though, which makes it better than a lot of other buildings. I'd say it's a solid pick, okay? I think Sparky is definitely a solid pick. Being able to vaporize pretty much any threat in front of you, whether it be a human or a zombie, is pretty good. And the Sparky is really hard to take down. I mean, imagine being like some raiders trying to raid our base. I don't think there's any way you're getting through the Sparky. So that's pretty good. The Sparky is unbelievably loud though. It's basically a tank. So that's kind of bad, but I mean, it's a good tool to have in your pocket, I'd say, right? Okay. Let's go with Mother Witch. Mother Witch is goated. Okay, I think Mother Witch is goated. So the reason I say that is because she can turn zombies into piggies and then we have infinite food. That sounds sick to me, okay? That sounds unbelievably amazing. Food is one of the #1 problems you're gonna have in the zombie apocalypse. And assuming that the meat is good, because it doesn't seem like that the thing that she turns into a pig really has any bearing on the pig itself. Like it's not like she turns a skeleton into a pig, right? And then it turns into a skeletal pig. It's just a pig. So I would say we probably don't have to worry about any of the zombiness being translated over to the pigs that she makes from the zombies. So that seems like a perfect situation. Absolutely goated. Top of the list even, arguably. She also has a magic ranged attack, which is insane in the zombie apocalypse. All right, Dark Gob. Dark Gob. Dark Gob feels like a solid pick. He has a ranged attack. However, I just don't think it's that good, right? Like, I think he's like backup plan. It's basically just another guy on the squad. He's good against people. Like, he'd be able to defend us against any people. But I mean, against zombies, he's basically useless. I doubt the dart is going to do enough to take out the zombie's brain to kill them. So that's pretty pointless. Any kind of poison from a Dark Gob is probably not affecting a zombie. So overall, just kind of not very good in this situation. Not quite a liability or dead weight, but I mean, he's just like a guy, essentially. You know, that's rough. Let's do Inferno Drag. Oh, I dropped Inferno Drag. Inferno Drag is even scarier, arguably, than the baby dragon because it has armor. I mean, this is just like I've got to leave the Inferno Dragon behind, okay? The liability goes so beyond the baby dragon, it's insane. Imagine a zombie Inferno Dragon flying around, zapping the shit out of everything, disintegrating the world, and it's got armor covering its head, literally the only part that matters for a zombie. It's a nightmare waiting to happen, frankly. Okay. Tornado. Tornado is a good card in this situation. You know, being able to tornado away some zombies is probably pretty good, but you have to worry about a lot, man. It's definitely a liability, okay? It's risky. It's risky to use a tornado in any situation, I feel like, because you could easily destroy some stuff you don't want to. Who knows how much control you really have over the tornado? Definitely liability territory. Okay. Ram Rider is just the same as the Hog Rider. She's a little more collected and together, I would say. She doesn't yell nearly as much, but the Ram is very loud. I don't think she'd let us eat it. She's got the bolas, which is slightly better than a hammer in this situation, I feel like, but still not ideal. Maybe we could argue backup plan. Okay, elite barbs are goated. They do yell a lot, but they do have a little bit of armor, a little bit of weapon. They're still going to be 2 guys that we have to feed, so I don't know about that. I would say backup plan, okay? I'm not super hyped about having the barbs on the team. Executioner is goated, okay? I don't think he really has armor, but he's got a great weapon. He can throw it at range. He's a great chef, apparently, so I mean, he makes the squad easily. Minion Horde. Minion Horde is pretty good, but that's a lot of guys to feed, right? That's a lot of guys to feed. The minions are the servants of humanity, so they will help us no matter what, which is fantastic. They can probably fend for themselves for the most part, and we don't really have to worry about a zombie minion simply because they fly. It'd be very hard. They'd have to really be lacking to get caught out like that. So I would say they probably also make the squad. Okay, next up. Well, actually, let's go ahead and grab the regular minions as well, because I feel like maybe they can go in solid plan because more is better in this situation. And then we can also go ahead and grab Skarmy. Where's Skarmy? So Skarmy, much like the skeletons, is like one of the best things you can have in this situation, in my opinion, right? You don't have to feed them. They don't need any water. They can't be turned into zombies. And you essentially have like 16 little guys with swords willing to do whatever you want to defend you. Like, what more could you ask for in the zombie apocalypse? It's fantastic. They're already dead. They're fearless, okay? They're fearless in this situation. They're the perfect little group of guys to have. All right. So let's go ahead and grab the let's go graveyard, same thing, right? And tombstone, same thing, okay? All of these are fantastic. The tombstone is arguably even better than the Skarmy, assuming it can spawn infinite skeletons, right? Like, that's huge. What more could you ask for? Now, heal spirit. We can go ahead and put all of the spirits in the dead weight category. And the reason for this is they're going to tag along, right? And assuming we have any say over the moment that they choose to end their own lives for us, right? We'll assume we have a little bit of say, that we can guide them in that. Until that moment, they're basically just another mouth to feed or thing to worry about. And then at some point we get to go, hey, fire spirit, go jump on that zombie and take him out for me. And then they'll go, oh, ah. And I mean, that's like helpful one time, and otherwise they're dead weight up until that point. So I don't think they can go any higher. But I wouldn't leave them behind. You know, they're nice to have along. They at least bring a good energy to the apocalypse, right? Okay, let's go ahead and do Lumberjack. Lumberjack is definitely going in backup plan. Listen, I'm not a fan of alcoholics. Maybe that's just a me thing, but generally, I'm not a fan of them. Now, the Lumberjack has a weapon. He seems to be skilled with it. He seems to be in pretty good shape, so he's probably not dead weight. But dude, the rage, the getting crazy, the getting drunk all the time, I'm just not for it, right? It creates a lot of problems, but he would probably be more helpful most of the time. Excuse me, and not a liability, I would say. Okay, next up. Let's do the Dark Prince. The Dark Prince is basically the regular prince, but with a donkey, so maybe even better in this situation. I'm not really sure, but at least on the same level as the prince, so easily joining the squad. Next up, let's do 3 musketeers. I mean, 3 musketeers are goated, okay? These are basically elite level soldiers helping you out. They all have guns. They have bayonets, which is even better. Like, that's fucking killer, dude. A bayonet in the zombie apocalypse is a sick tool to have, and there's 3 of them, which does mean We have to worry about feeding 3 more people, but I feel like they probably be self-sufficient. I feel like they're going to be feeding me. Okay, so I feel like these are like, this is a top tier unit here. All right, let's do Archer Queen. Archer Queen is goated as well. Okay, the Archer Queen is sick in this situation. She can go stealth, which means the zombies will not chase after her. She has a ranged weapon. She can take them out from afar. The crossbow is sick. We've all seen what Daryl does. That's his name, right? I feel like it's been so long since I've watched The Walking Dead. We've all seen what the guy with the crossbow does in The Walking Dead, okay? It's sick. So she easily makes the top of the list. A bowler. Bowler is good, I think, here. Bowler is going to be pretty solid. I think he's a solid pick, okay? He is a little slow, shall we say, right? He's a little slow. However, I think he's a solid pick because the boulder is probably pretty good at crushing zombies to death. He's a big, strong guy. He's kind of slow, though, actually. I think I got to put him in liability. Maybe we could argue back. I'm going to put him in backup plan, okay? I would still be happy to have him on the team if I had to absolutely put, like, if it came down to it, I'd be happy to have him, right? He's a little slow. You may have to wait for him sometimes. He's got a lot of surface area, easily bitten, okay? But the big rock is very helpful. The strength is very helpful. I feel like we could make it work. Okay, Ice Wiz. Ice Wiz is goated as hell in this situation also. Bro, magic is just super good in the zombie apocalypse. What can I say? If you can freeze the zombies or slow them, that's huge. That's a huge thing to have. And he may be like not be able to kill them on his own like the wizard. He's still fantastic to have. Happy to have him. He can also keep food cold, which is another big deal here. Now, the bandit. The bandit's a liability, okay? She's a fucking thief, right? She's gonna steal our shit. She may, at any point, I'd be worried she'd take all of our things, our best valuables, and run off with them. So, absolutely a liability. Now, Goblin Cage, the Diddy Cage, the Diddler himself, bro. Having a cage is kind of useless in this situation. Having one big buff guy is basically just having, it's like a backup plan, you know? It's just like the Dark Goggins, okay? Sure, another guy who will be relatively helpful and probably not screw us over. Sure, welcome to the team in the worst case. I'd much rather have anybody up here over this guy. Okay. Now, let's see what we're going to do next. Let's go with the Royal Ghost. Royal Ghost is making the squad, dude. The Royal Ghost can become a physical guy occasionally and do stuff, you know? So basically, we have a stealth agent who can go into the zombies or go anywhere we want and then turn into a corporeal form and then kill the zombies or grab the stuff and come back, you know? I trust him. He's a ghost, so he can't be turned into... He's already dead, you know? Probably don't have to give him any food or any water because he's dead. So I think he's the GOAT in this situation as well. There's a lot of really good things, a lot of really good cards, okay, for the zombie apocalypse in Clash. Let's do Rune Giant. Rune Giant is definitely going to be backup plan. The buff here is really not that fantastic, I don't think. Being able to do more damage every third hit really doesn't do a lot here. And just like the Giant, lots of surface area. Very strong, which is helpful, but overall not the best. And while we're doing the Rune Giant, let's go ahead and do the Berserky. Berserky is definitely a liability, okay? I fucking hate kids. While she is insane and has the cleaver to chop stuff up, she is a child, and that alone makes her a liability. Bats. If we can assume that we have control over the bats, right? We can eat them. Worst comes to worst. I don't want to, but worst comes to worst, we can eat them. But they're just bats, okay? They really can't do that much besides scout stuff out, maybe bring the occasional thing back to base. So I'm going to say, like, backup plan. I would probably be fine to have them on the squad, but they're not my first pick. Okay, Fisherman. Fisherman. The Fisherman. The Fisherman has a fish, but he probably doesn't have an infinite supply, right? He's probably got like 1 or 2 with him. So that's nice at first, but that benefit is quickly gone. He has the hook, which is helpful in a way. Kind of. He could hook me and pull me in case I'm about to get eaten by a zombie or something, or get captured or something. He can fish, which is nice, but where, you know, there's no guarantee we'll even be near any water. So I feel like he's just like a solid pick. You know, he's a hardy guy who can help you out and has some food with him and some skills. You know, he's like a decent addition to the team, but he's nowhere near the level of these people up here. Definitely a solid pick. Okay, next up, Goblin Giant. Goblin Giant is going to be I think I'm leaving the Goblin Giant behind. I don't get the vibe that the Goblin Giant has any interest in helping me out. Him and his little goblin pals, I feel like I'm going to be third wheeling constantly, okay, which is going to be weird. Fourth wheeling in this case, I guess. They seem like they got their own thing going on, and I would never really feel like I'm a part of the group. Similar to the Goblin Hut, but in this case, we have a giant, and the giant's got a knife, and then he becomes a giant... a zombie giant, a zombie goblin giant. I don't know. Maybe you could argue liability. We can put him in liability, but I just don't feel good about having him on the squad, okay? I don't know what it is. Electro Whiz, God tier, okay? Zapping the zombies to freeze them in place and electrocute them and probably just fry their brains and killing them is goated power. He can power things, and electricity is going to be a whole ordeal to have to worry about in the future. Because, I mean, obviously the power grid's going to go down in the zombie apocalypse. So having this guy around would be absolutely goated, I think. He'd be Kino, okay? He's perfect. E-Golem. I don't think the E-Golem can probably be turned into a zombie, right? Probably not. Probably pretty strong, but is made of goop. I don't... Backup plan? Dead weight even? I just don't... I guess I could maybe eat some of the golem. I think you can eat the elixir and probably have nutrition. Solid pick maybe. I'm worried I'll get diddled by the e-golem, right? I'm really worried about that. And also, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with things where you want a big goopy guy to, like, what could he possibly do for us? It's hard to say. I'm not really sure. I feel like very unsure where to put the e-golem. I'm gonna stick him in backup plan for now. Okay, guards. Guards are like the regular skeletons, but on crack, okay? They definitely are just better skeletons, so they have to go in the squad. Next up, Zap. Zap is not very good here, I don't think. Assuming we get only a limited number uses of Zap, right? We can use it to power a couple of things for like a few seconds or something, which is not fantastic. It's a little bit of help. It may come in handy. But I think it's gonna get left behind, you know. I just don't think zapping any zombies is really gonna make that much of a difference in most situations. They get stunned for like half a second, which sure could allow us to like sneak by some. Maybe you could argue dead weight. I feel like it's similar to the spirits where like you carry this thing around forever and then eventually you find a use for it and then it's kind of like done. So dead weight, I think. Spear gobs. I mean, backup plan. It's no different than the goblins, right? Princess is goated, okay? The princess, only one mouth to feed, which is why the archers are only going in solid pick, okay? Both the archers and the princess are very similar. However, the archers, you got to feed 2 people, and the princess has fire arrows, which just makes her way better. And overall, I'd be happy to have either of these on the team, right? Either one. But I think the princess just is a little better than the archers. Okay, rage. Rage has to go in liability, right? There are definitely instances where you'd want to crash out in the zombie apocalypse and be able to use the rage spell. It's also food, right? I'm pretty sure you can drink the rage and like the barbarian does or whatever and be pretty okay and get some power boost or whatever. But I mean, getting so angry that you kind of lose your mind for a second and black out and just do whatever could definitely be very dangerous. So it has to go in liability. Mortar is fine. It's kind of similar to all of the other towers. I think it definitely goes in dead weight. There's no real way to move it around and take it with us. And frankly, mortars are just really loud and not going to be that great. However, I guess the sound maybe exists more where the mortar lands. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's that helpful, right? I think that's pretty fair. Fireball. Fireball is probably a backup plan sort of card, I think. The fireball is going to be able to let us get fire at least one time, which is definitely helpful. It can take out a horde of zombies pretty easily, just blow them all up. Could blow up an enemy person if we encounter any. So I think if we get a couple uses of fireball, it's probably pretty good. But I mean, you'd just rather have the wizard, right? So I think backup plan is fine. Then we've got Goblin Drill. Goblin Drill is actually probably a solid pick here. Okay, I think you could even argue it goes in squad territory. Being able to drill under the ground into any location is sick. Okay, that's just a sick ability to have. You can evade a lot of zombies and people that way. So you really avoid a lot of danger doing that. And you get to build tunnels under the ground. Those are probably pretty stable, I'd imagine, if the drill's going through them. Maybe not, though. Maybe it doesn't work that way. But either way, I feel pretty confident that we can get some good use out of the Goblin Drill. It will be loud, but I mean, it comes jam-packed with little goblin guys who we will have to worry about feeding, but I mean, they bring the drill to the table. It feels worth it. All right, Skelly Barrel. The Skelly Barrel death damage might take out some zombies, which is cool and all, but we're really in it for the skeletons inside the barrel, which is pretty nice. And we can even float the barrel up to like the top of a building if we need to or something. It feels like it probably is going to go solid pick because the barrel is realistically only going to get one use. And then after that, we basically just have some skeletons. It is more than just 3 skeletons, but the single use nature of the Skelly Barrel is why it's going to stick in solid pick. Okay, Rocket. Rocket is just the same as Fireball, right? Arguably no different in this situation, so we can go ahead and drop it in backup plan. Lightning. Lightning is interesting. I think it also goes in backup plan, right? You would rather just have the E-Wiz, but being able to lightning something once could actually... I feel like it's just, I'm leaving the lightning behind, okay? I just don't feel like it'll be that useful. When are we realistically going to want to zap something with lightning? We could zap 3 zombies with lightning. It just seems like it looks like a pretty big bottle to be carrying around. Like, am I going to carry around a gallon jug of lightning juice so that one day I can hopefully find a good situation to lightning 3 things? I don't think so. Not worth. All right, Goblin Demolisher. Goblin Demolisher is interesting, okay? Because the dynamite could be incredibly helpful, okay? He does kill himself occasionally, so that's scary. Which makes him a liability. Having a bunch of lit explosives constantly around you is definitely a liability. The constant explosions are going to draw a lot of noise as well, which is just going to make things dangerous. Definitely liability. One could argue even dead weight here. Next up, Rascals. Rascals are probably going to go in liability as well. I mean, first of all, children hate kids. Don't want to have to deal with them in the zombie apocalypse. Then you have the fact that they're all criminals, right? That's pretty bad. It's the same thing as the bandit, so... easily liability. And while we're doing that, we can go ahead and drop the boss bandit there as well. I mean, listen, criminals are not allowed in the clan, all right? It's just dangerous, okay? The miner. The miner is pretty solid here, I feel like. It's very similar to the drill, except it's only 1 mouth to feed. So I think it goes in squad territory. I think he's pretty goated here for the same reasons that the drill is. Next up, the hunter. The hunter is interesting. I feel like he's basically a musketeer, so probably fine, right? Probably pretty good to have on the team. A rough, gruff guy who's going to be able to withstand the trials of the apocalypse and be able to have a gun. It's pretty good, I think. Next up, Bomb Tower. Bomb Tower is going to be a solid, well, actually, backup plan. I would rather have the Inferno Tower over the Bomb Tower anyway, because the Bomb Tower is going to make a lot of noise. Plus, you have to worry about keeping up with the little skeleton guy who operates the Bomb Tower. It's just a lot more to deal with. It's also made of wood, which makes it less sturdy, right? Okay, next up, we are going to go with Spirit Empress. Now, the dragon is cool, right? The dragon is definitely cool, and the fact that it's guided by a human is, I think, a big deal. Plus, she can shoot magical projectiles and stuff. She just seems like a goated person to have on the squad. If anybody were going to take care of a zombie dragon, I would trust the person who is the dragon wrangler to do so, you know? It's kind of like having a tiger, right? And then somebody's like, okay, this is my tiger, though. I own the tiger. I'm responsible for the tiger, and I've trained him not to maul people's faces. So I feel like it's kind of like that vibe, you know? So I would say she makes the squad. Goblin Barrel is pretty useless, I'm not going to lie. 3 goblins are like whatever, you know? They're basically just 3 dudes. They're going backup plan. But the barrel really doesn't add anything. In fact, I think having to worry about it is just dead weight. I'd actually leave them behind. I don't want 3 guys who are going to randomly come down in a barrel and cause a bunch of chaos and maybe liability instead, because maybe they could save your life. You're in a dire situation, and then out of nowhere you hear the evil laughter of the goblins as they crash in and save your life. So I'm going to put it in liability. Balloon is pretty good. I mean, you hardly ever see hot air balloons in zombie apocalypse situations, but I feel like overall they're probably pretty good. It's a great way to travel. I don't know how much control you really have over a hot air balloon and your direction. I'd assume enough, you know? So I'm going to say solid pick. Some transportation would be nice. The fact we could drop bombs from it is pretty good. We got a guy who knows how to operate it. In fact, I'm going to put it in the squad, okay? It would be a lot to worry about, but we can just find a place to store it, and, you know, I think we'll be solid. Next up, E-Drag. E-Drag is whatever. It's definitely going in liability for the same exact reasons as all the other dragons. In fact, the only dragons who we don't have to worry about turning into zombies are the skeletal dragons, so they can go in backup. They actually can go in solid pick. The ability to create fire is sick, of course, and we have 2 dragons. We don't have to worry about feeding them. We can probably ride them. In fact, I'm happy to have them on the squad, I think, the more I think about it. Are there any other dragons we missed? We can go ahead and go with the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix is terrifying, okay? I'm leaving the Phoenix behind, and let me explain why. The Phoenix is definitely one of the scariest cards to have turned into a zombie on this entire list, and it's simply because you can never get rid of it, right? Imagine the Phoenix dies, or it gets bit and turned into a zombie, right? And then it comes back, and it's still a zombie, and it comes back, and it's still a zombie. And you may say, oh, well, actually, the Phoenix can never become a zombie because it doesn't ever die. It would just come back to life. That's not a risk I'm willing to take, okay? You can go ahead and risk your life on the infinite Phoenix revival. I'm not going to risk my life on that. I'm too afraid of the infinite zombie, okay? The infinite zombie Phoenix is way more scary to me. It's not worth the risk. Expo's pretty good. Expo's a solid pick, okay? Very similar to the Inferno Tower. We have a big ballista that's going to nuke things. Basically, they get close. Shoot, it can probably take out like 10 zombies at once if it's aimed right. And it's super scary if you're a person, okay? I would never want to approach a base with a ballista out front. Next up, arrows. Arrows are dead weight. I don't have a bow, okay? So once the arrows get fired, we have to go pick them all up. And even if it's a spell, I don't know how it would work. It's just, I'm going to be carrying around a bunch of arrows and waiting for the opportunity for them to all come down from the sky. I don't know, dude. It's just, it feels like dead weight, right? It's too much to deal with. I'd be lugging around a bag full of arrows constantly. No thanks. Elixir pump. Assuming this is just like food, I think this makes it into the squad. It's a solid pick at very least. I mean, it's basically food for a long time. It's some sort of life-giving force considering that everything gets spawned by elixir. So I don't know. I'm going to say it makes the squad pretty easily. Barb hut. Barb hut is definitely a liability, just like the goblin hut, okay? It's a whole group of people that got their own thing going on. I would always be an outsider. I think the barbs would be more welcoming to me than like the goblins. However, I still don't trust it very much. I feel like I'd always feel like I'm gonna get turned on. If the barbs had to decide that one of us was gonna be eaten, okay, it would be me. Let's be real. Next up, mirror. Mirror's pretty good, I think, because you basically get a copy of yourself, which is not bad. I think I'm relatively, you know, fit for this situation. I don't have a ton of experience, but certainly having 2 of me can be better than having 1. So solid pick. I would rather have like any of these guys with real skills or combat equipment or anything, but another of me can't hurt, I don't think. All right, witch. Witch is goated just like the mother witch. Okay, and we can go ahead and put the night witch in here as well, I think. Either of them are going to be able to, first of all, kill a lot of zombies with their either weapon or their magical powers, and they can summon either infinite food with bats, infinite little helpers with bats, or infinite helpers with skeletons. I would definitely say that, like, if we were ranking the witches, it would be like witch, mother witch, night witch, but I'm happy to have all of them aboard the squad. P.E.K.K.A. Some sort of earth spirit inside a giant armor. The mother P.E.K.K.A is a lot louder than baby P.E.K.K.A. However, I mean, she's way more menacing too. We would never get fucked with by people, all right? I would be terrified to fight Mama P.E.K.K.A, right? She's super scary, and she's probably going to be able to just mow down hordes of zombies. However, she is really loud, so I think she's just solid pick. She's a solid pick, but I would rather have these people on the squad. Royal Giant is practically useless, if I'm being real. The cannon is like cool like every once in a while, but it's so loud. And again, you have to worry about a zombie giant, and I just don't think that's really worth it. So I'm gonna put dead weight. I don't feel like maybe we could go liability. We can go liability actually. Okay, poison is useless here. I'm leaving the poison behind 100%. Okay, we can't poison zombies. They're already dead. It's pointless to bring it along. Clone. Again, I think this is basically mirror tier. You know, being able to clone myself or others. Actually, we could probably get a little more use out of clone and do some interesting things like distractions or quickly build something or tear something down or raid a house. Or there's a lot you can do with clone that I think makes it a lot more versatile than mirror. Okay. Magic archer is goated. Okay. A magical archer is even better than a regular archer. What do you want me to say? Okay. He can pierce the zombies. He can take out hordes of zombies all by himself. He's goated. All right. Flying machine. Flying machine is balloon tier, I think. So it's going in my squad. Okay. Well, actually, it's a lot louder and probably flies closer to the ground. It's a little more dangerous. And it really can only support one person. So I think it's a solid pick. Like, I wouldn't mind having a flying machine on the squad. It's probably pretty helpful. But overall, not as good as the balloon. Cannon cart. I don't fuck with the cannon cart. Cannon cart's dead weight. Okay. I'm leaving the cannon cart behind. It's too loud. It's too slow. It's too heavy. I don't want to fuck with it. All right. Mega Knight. Mega Knight is P.E.K.K.A tier. Okay. Mama P.E.K.K.A tier. He's so big that he's going to be very loud, clanking around in all that armor. However, he is a goat. Okay, he would be able to slaughter hordes of zombies and probably survive all sorts of clashes with people. So he'd be a very strong pick. My only worry is he's very loud and he'd draw a lot of attention. Okay, it'd be quite hard to deal with that all the time. So, and I'm not armored up like he is, you know. So I think solid pick. Zappies are pretty good. Zappies are basically E-Wiz, but we don't have to worry about feeding them. So, I mean, that's great. And there's 3 of them. They can't be turned into a zombie either. Goated. Royal Recruits. Royal Recruits are definitely going in the squad. Now, this might seem counterintuitive with as much as I've been like, I don't really want that many people in the squad. But the Royal Recruits are very similar to the elite musketeers over here, where they're trained. I'm basically getting accepted into the military in a way. Like, if there was a military compound, these guys are going to be letting me in, is what it feels like here, okay? They're all armored. They've all got weapons. They're all military trained. I trust them, okay? It's like 6 guys protecting me. I feel like it's going to be fine. Okay, hogs are useless, basically. They're dead weight until we decide to kill them. We have to feed them. They're a liability at first, especially before we establish some kind of base. I have no idea how I'm going to keep 4 royal hogs wrangled while we try and do stuff, so I'm probably leaving them behind. Listen, at best, I kill them and store some of the food. So maybe we could put dead weight because they are literally going to be dead weight as they are stakes in my backpack. Earthquake. Earthquake is really not that useful either. I'd probably bring Earthquake and it would function very similarly to Zap, where it's like, I got the spell I carry around and find the one moment I can actually use it. Okay, healer, battle healer. Battle healer is goated. I mean, being able to heal people, she might be able to turn around the apocalypse entirely, okay, just by healing people. And for that alone, she's got to be on the squad. Next up, we have Firecracker. Firecracker is going in the solid pick. Okay. The Firecracker is not as good as the archers because the Firecrackers will be really loud. However, we can get some use out of them for like distractions and stuff. And overall, having someone who's very experienced with pyrotechnics is probably helpful, but I would rather have these people on the squad more. I think this makes sense. Maybe you could argue that she's a little better than archers. I'm not really sure. I feel like they belong on the same tier. They're kind of the same to me in this situation. They both have benefits and drawbacks. E-Giant. E-Giant is a liability. I don't want to get shocked to death. The zombies are really going to do damage by clawing and biting him, which will turn him into a zombie, right? So the damage will be reflected onto them, but only after they've bitten him, which is kind of like defeats the whole purpose of him even having the thing. You know, it doesn't really protect him from being bitten and turned. And then we have to not only deal with a giant, but a giant who now has an electrical field around him, which makes things infinitely worse. It's very similar to a baby dragon, okay? Don't want to deal with that. Then we have Golden Knight. Golden Knight is a solid pick, I think. He's a dude with a sword. He can dash to multiple zombies and sort of like all hit them really quick, but he doesn't really have any armor. He's I don't know. He's just like a guy with a sword who's kind of fast sometimes. It doesn't feel like he really brings that much to the table. I would actually say backup plan. He feels like Elite Barb's level of helpful to me. Skelly King is goated, okay? Very similar to the Witch. But I mean, he's in there, okay? He's in there, right? He's going to be on the front lines battling things. Every time he kills a zombie, that's another little skelly to his army. I mean, we'll be unstoppable. I would argue we could probably take out every zombie in a 200-mile radius in no time with this guy. So he's goated. He's probably one of the best people we could possibly have. Okay. Now we got Mighty Miner. Mighty Miner is similar to the regular miner, okay? But he has a bomb, which is cool. He's got the drill, which is better than a shovel. So I feel like he belongs up here. The miner is good, but maybe we can put him into solid pick because the Mighty Miner is definitely going to be better. Then we have the monk. The monk can not really do a whole lot. He can push back zombies, but I mean, he's basically on the same level as like a golden knight, you know? He's got a cool, neat ability that's helpful sometimes. Sure, he could reflect bullets at people, but he's also old. So like, I don't know. It's just not that good. Let's go ahead and get these spells out of the way. Void is not very helpful because it's really only to zap one thing. We have nothing to zap. I'd probably just leave it behind. Goblin Curse is good in a way because, like, let's say we curse like 400 zombies at once, right? We have 400 goblins, but most of those goblins we're not going to be able to keep fed. Most of them would probably get eaten by other zombies, and then we have goblin zombies running around, which is very, very scary thought. I feel like this is a huge liability to the point that I would just leave it behind. Okay, it's not really going to get you out of any. It could get you out of a bad situation in a pinch, so maybe a liability. I feel like there would be some great opportunities to use it, but you're really rolling the dice on what happens after that. Vines is a good backup plan, I think. You keep it in your pocket. Worst comes to worst, you can like hold 3 zombies in place and get some value out of it occasionally, or a person. So I feel like it's pretty good. It's certainly better than Zap or Earthquake. Okay, Suspicious Bush. Let's assume the zombies won't target the bush while the little guys are walking around. That's huge, okay? That's a solid pick if you ask me. It's only 2 guys to feed. Now, I don't know how cooperative they would be, but having 2 guys who can go out into the apocalypse and not get targeted by zombies is just a huge, huge thing to have. Okay, Goblinstein. Goblinstein is rough because I don't really feel like they're that helpful. They can create electricity, which is neat. It's a good thing to have. But Goblinstein is actually... Goblinstein is a liability, dog. Let's really think about this. He's a mad scientist trying to do wacky experiments, and now there's zombies around. He's arguably already created a zombie in a way, so I don't trust him not to like join the zombie side in some sick, twisted experiment. No, thank you. Okay, Goblin Machine. Goblin Machine is a solid pick, and he's a solid pick for the same reasons Mama Pekka is a solid pick. Very loud. Lots of offensive power and lots of defensive power. A very strong, combative person to have around. Really going to be able to go out there and do some great things in the apocalypse. But man, is he going to draw a lot of attention, just like Mama Pekka would. And finally, Little Prince. Little Prince is okay. A child is a liability, but he comes with his own guardian protector. They're not criminals, so I immediately put them above the rascals, and I would even put them in solid pick simply because the guardian, as long as I can tie my helpfulness to the Little Prince again, the guardian will protect me at all costs. So I vibe with this. However, if worse came to worse, actually the guardian would probably sacrifice me for the Little Prince, and when I really think about that, that makes me want to leave them behind. Maybe liability. I don't know. That's a scary thought, right? Like you never want to be the guy who's going to get sacrificed guaranteed in a situation. So I'm going to leave them behind. I wouldn't want to risk that. I'd rather tough it on my own than worry about getting sacrificed at the drop of a dime, you know, for the Little Prince's life. No, thank you. Okay, let's build our ultimate squad, right? We have our top picks here. Let's build the ultimate squad of guys who, these are like, if I had to be in apocalypse, this is my go-to gang. So we'll choose 5. We'll choose 5 guys. Royal Recruits, for sure. Elite Musketeers, for sure. Skelly King, for sure. I'm going to say Magic Archer. And then I'm going to say Zappies. Give me a moment to look over this and make sure this is my picks. Okay. Royal Recruits are actually not that good, I don't think. They scare me a little bit, but with the Skeleton King on our side, dude, there's a lot of synergy there. Okay, We can go ahead and cross people off the list. The Witch, I take the Skelly King over the Witch any day. Mighty Miner is okay. Battle Healer has the potential to do some insane things, so we'll move her closer to the top. These things are not good enough. No. Skelly Dragons are cool, but I think they end there. It's just cool to have them around. They're not good enough. The Hunter, no, it's just one guy with a gun. No, no. The guards are pretty solid, but I mean, we have Skelly King, so infinitely better. I almost want to take Ewiz. Ewiz is a very strong card. So is the Wizard. Royal Ghost is cool, but it's just one guy. And frankly, I feel like he's not that good. We can move him towards the top of the list. Archer Queen, Ice Wiz. These are minions are cool. Executioner is not good enough. He's just one guy. Same with Valkyrie. Same with Royal Delivery. Same with the Tesla. The Tesla is very valuable, actually. Prince and Dark Prince are not good. Knight. No, P.E.K.K.A.'s not good enough. I mean, having one guy, I mean, we basically have a P.E.K.K.A. with the Skelly King, but the Skelly King's better. Graveyard, not as good. Giant, not as good. Not as good. Not as good. Musketeer, not as good. That's no. Wait, Mother Witch is goated in this situation. Okay, let's really narrow it down here. So my five picks. Okay. Without a doubt, Skelly King, probably the best person you could have, period. Now, after that, I'm going to say Ewiz. Wait, no, I'm going to say Tesla Tower and Wizard. Okay? Now, from here, we have to take the Battle Healer. The fact that she can heal people, well, actually, I don't know if she can keep all of us alive indefinitely. Theoretically, as long as we don't, get bitten, we're probably fine. And even then, she might be able to cure it. We have no idea. It's too much. She's a great risk to take. We get one more. If I had to pick one more, and I'm between the Magic Archer, I'm between these three, right? Between the Magic Archer, the Musketeers, and the Royal Recruits. The Royal Recruits don't have any body armor. So I think I'm dropping them off a cliff. We have manpower with the Skelly King. So now it really becomes down to usefulness. And the Magic Archer is pretty sick. He's kind of old though. I think, man, this is tough. I think I'm gonna go with the Three Musketeers. I think Three Musketeers ensure that we are always safe. Probably. They're probably pretty locked in and loaded. So these are my 5 picks right here. I think that's a pretty good squad. And all right, there you have it. My ranking of every single card in Clash Royale by how well we would survive a zombie apocalypse with them, with my goated top 5 squad right here. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Thank you for 1,000 subs, and I hope you enjoyed the video.